host the Orlando SeaWolves. I'm Brian Ackley along with commentator Robbie Aristodamo, who knows a thing or two about this game, played almost 300 professional games indoors. And Robbie, these two teams, as we said, kind of heading in opposite directions, but this is the fourth meeting between these two this year, and in two of the previous three, there have been tie games in the fourth quarter, so it's kind of true. Throw out the stats, throw out the records. When rivals meet, anything can happen.
No, I agree, Brian. I think anytime you have a rivalry game, you've got two teams that are itching to try to get a win and obviously going in different directions, but the game is going to be a battle.
And Clay Roberts talking with his club about wanting to establish some consistency and have that good, solid, big effort start to finish. You take a look at the Eastern Conference standings. The Tropics right there atop the bunch at 7-1. Milwaukee and Utica City, the two teams chasing the Tropics right now, both playing this afternoon, and those are the two teams that will be the biggest challenge to Florida as when it comes to the postseason seedings. The top four teams in the East will make the MASL playoffs. The Harrisburg Heat off to a very good start at 5-2, and certainly nobody going to sleep on the Baltimore Blast, who right now are just 4-5, but the Blast and the Tropics will potentially be playoff partners come April. But if they do, the Tropics will know that they have won both of the games against Baltimore this season. They traveled up to the Northeast last weekend to take on the Blast a night after demolishing Rochester by a 17-4 score. Hugo Silva in goal for the Tropics and got off to a rough start but made amends quickly with a great long ball to Zach Reggett, who tied it at 1, and that was a pretty play, Robbie.
A fantastic goal from Reggett coming into his own in his second year.
Absolutely, the MASL reigning Rookie of the Year. It was really a back-and-forth affair as the Tropics and Blast kind of took chances hammering each other. As we said, Hugo Silva getting the start and goal of his first start since the third game of the season. He'd been nursing a groin injury. A nice play here by Lucas Monolaris as he makes the steal at the midfield circle, dribbles over the yellow line and slots one to the far post.
No, you love to see a target defender get involved in the offensive third of the field. That was a massive goal on the road.
This was a huge win for the Tropics in so many ways. There's Matt Clare cleaning up the rebound in front. He has been the Matt Clare of old. And then the veteran Lucio Gonzaga brought in to do what he does best on the restart.
No, he's a fantastic player on the restarts. And again, the wall kind of split open, so a little bit fortunate.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And then a set piece for Baltimore to tie the game at 4 right before intermission. But overall, a very good first half for the Tropics. And then Baltimore kind of took control in the third and made it a 6-4 game, a pretty give and go there to give Baltimore the 5-4 lead.
Yeah, difficult 2-goal lead in the fourth quarter. You rarely see the Blast give up obviously wins at the fourth quarter when they're up by 2.
Here's that 6th goal deflection in front, a bit of bad luck for the Tropics, but as you said, a 6-4 deficit turned into a tie game. Reggett outfights his man for the second of the night.
And again, another indoor goal, a ball off the boards.
And then the equalizer, a pretty one by Matt Clare, gets his own rebound and uses the header to tie it up, and then the winner, Victor Pereira's off the boards to Ricardo Carvalho.
Off the board, you said it best, Brian. Off the boards, another fantastic indoor soccer goal. The Tropics are coming into their own. To win on the road against the Blast is fantastic for their confidence.
We'll be back for the kickoff here in Lakeland in just a moment.
Your Syntec smart home works with devices like the Amazon Echo Dot.
Alexa, turn on all lights.
Many of your home's features can be controlled by giving simple voice commands.
Alexa, set temperature to 72 degrees. Alexa, play my playlist.
For extra convenience, you can also control your home's systems with your smartphone apps.
Major Arena Soccer League action is at the RP Funding Center in Lakeland with the Florida Tropics. For amazing family entertainment and non-stop action that doesn't bust the budget, go to fltropics.com and click tickets. So rise up, Florida, and join the ever-growing Tropics soccer movement. Go to fltropics.com and click tickets.
Here's something we've learned in the last 115 years. energy connects us. In the conversations, the smiles, the interactions we experience every day. Lakeland Electric is proud to power local businesses, ensuring reliable energy for our friends, our families, our future. Lakeland Electric, powered for life.
Ready to kick things off here at the RP Funding Center in Lakeland on this warm, steamy Sunday afternoon in Central Florida, and things will heat up quickly, I'm sure, here on the turf at the RP Funding Center. Two local rivals, the Orlando SeaWolves and the Florida Tropics, meeting for the fourth time this year. Tropics have won all three previous matchups, but they have not necessarily been easy. In fact, as we alluded to at the top of the broadcast, two of the three games were tie games in the fourth quarter. So the Tropics will need to be sharp here tonight as Pereiras tried to hit Zach Reggett on the far side, but that pass was intercepted.
Yeah, I think, Brian, the last few games of the Tropics at home, they started off a little bit sluggish. So hopefully, I think Clay Roberts is hoping this first quarter is a little bit sharper.
Yeah, that was a problem in the last home game and the only loss of the season for the Tropics against the Milwaukee Wave. That was a 6-5 final. The Tropics down at one point in that second half 5-1 before pulling to within 5-4, but could never get the equalizer. As Victor France, new to the Orlando lineup, number 15.
Yeah, and he's got some good indoor experience. He's been around a few years. Good quality player. They've got a few veterans on the SeaWolves. You've got Tom Traxler back at the helm. It'd be interesting to see how they play today.
France did not play Friday night in Kansas City. Orlando making the trip back home a rather treacherous one yesterday. In fact, they weren't sure they were going to be able to get out of Kansas City because of all the severe weather in the Midwest yesterday. They did not actually get back to Orlando until about 9 o'clock last evening. Here's the ball in front by Jeff Michaud. But Gordy Gerson back in the lineup for the Tropics will control, and good, Robbie, to see Gordy Gerson back out there for Florida.
Yeah, and I think for Clay Roberts, that's a second forward that you need because he's busy, he's high energy, he's always moving, and he's a threat on goal.
Gordy been battling almost right from the start of the season a foot issue. Did not make the trip last weekend. Here's the ball down to Matt Clare. Matt Clare in front. Go!
We'll have to get a look at this replay, Brian, but it certainly looks like an own goal.
Yeah, it was. It definitely deflected off one of the Orlando defenders in front. We'll take another look at it, but it'll count nonetheless for Matt Clare.
Yeah, just a nice whipped-in ball across the box. It was going to find the feet of Gordy Gerson anyways, but I like the position that Matt Clare has been taking up as of late. As a midfielder, he's finding himself in the box. He's putting himself in dangerous position. That's why he has 8 goals on the year.
Had that big one in Baltimore that tied the game with just 3.5 minutes to go last Saturday in that overtime win. So Clare now with 8 goals and an assist on the season, and the Tropics with an early 1-0 lead. Stefan Mijatovic in the lineup this evening for the Tropics. Had it knocked away there by one of the Orlando forwards. Mijatovic tries to step up there. Teixeira will come in to help. Being watched out by Moda of the SeaWolves. Mijatovic gets it ahead. A bad bounce over the board, so Orlando will get a kick in, and Eduardo Cruz will do the honors.
Yeah, this is my first opportunity to see the youngster Mijatovic play. Big body, good target defender, so it'd be interesting to see how he settles into the game.
Yeah, had a good training camp for the Tropics and has been kind of a sixth defender, if you will. He's dressed some games, has not dressed always, but certainly a good guy to have. And Coach Clay Roberts confident in putting him out there as Gonzaga feeds it ahead to Antonio Manfoot. Manfoot tries to bang it off the boards in front to Joey Tavernese, who had 4 goals. Now here's an intercept by Manfoot. Over to Gonzaga. Gonzaga will play it back to Teixeira. Down low to Antonio Manfoot. Manfoot will control it now to Teixeira. He'll reverse field over to Lucas Montoleros.
It's good patient ball possession. I like when you can get players in line changes while you're in the offensive half. It keeps things fresh.
Here's Victor Pereiras being watched by O'Dane Sinclair. Teixeira will collect it at the midfield line and head to the bench on a change. Montoleros will wait for reinforcements. It comes in the form of Drew Ruggles. Ruggles had a goal in Rochester last week on a historic win for Florida. We'll talk more about that as Tavernisi is tied up by Moda along the far boards, comes in front, and the SeaWolves will try and counter here. Good recovery by Ricardo Carvalho, who comes into the game for the Tropics 5th overall in points in the league with 21 points, 10 goals and 11 assists.
Well, and early on with the keeper, Fernando, looking very confident at the back with his feet. Our first opportunity to see him in goal, but he looks tidy as a keeper.
Fernando Cortez with some experience in this league, played with the Dallas Sidekicks, also with El Paso a little bit. So he is, while a newcomer to Orlando, not necessarily a newcomer to the sport, although he has not played a lot in his other 2 stops. Here's Rafa Nascimento. Tropics fans might remember Rafa from the first season here at the RP Funding Center. Now a regular with the SeaWolves as Pereiras gets it over to Drew Ruggles, who will send it across floor to Lucas Montoleros. Long ball ahead for Zach Reggett. Scott Carvalho making a run. Reggett just misses far post. Here's Carvalho to collect the rebound.
Yeah, it was a great ball in by Lucas Montoleros into the path of Reggett, and a first-time shot inches wide.
Ruggles with contact at the midfield circle. No whistle. Here's a through ball, and it never made it to Ruggles, or it would have been a great scoring chance for Drew. Here's perhaps an intercept. No, Gerson couldn't quite catch up to it. Michaud, middle of the field now to Naranjo. Kevin Naranjo with it. Out to the yellow line, shot blocked by Reggett. And off the foot of Eduardo Cruz, one of the veteran players on this Orlando side, and Eduardo will stay out on the line change here. O'Dane Sinclair, a very dangerous forward. Talk about big targets. He's about 6'2", 205. He is the team's leading scorer. Nice little ball ahead and a give and go. Comes all the way through to Daniel Jackson, who was victimized on the own goal. Cruz with it.
Yeah, it looks like Sinclair's trying to get off the big body. He's only going to put in a good 45-second shift in before, he starts to get a little bit tired.
Thought I heard a whistle. The ball went out of play. I think Rich Grady's like, I thought I heard a whistle too, maybe. So I'm not sure if there was a.
That's a nice response from the SeaWolves, going down 1-0 on an own goal. Sometimes that's deflating. Obviously, they got pummeled in Kansas City. I want to say it was 14-6.
11-4. Actually was the final. Yeah, and they did take it on the chin. And Kansas City, don't go to sleep on the Comets before all is said and done in the East. They and St. Louis both have pretty decent sides. St. Louis will actually be here a couple of Saturdays from now. Good work by Michaud to try and get through the Tropics defense. Guillerme comes out of there with it. Guillerme still with it. Tried to get it in front. Manfoot going to try and chase it down. Can't. Teixeira gets there to Guillerme. Guillerme off the boards in front. Here's Gonzaga, and that one, no handball called. Looked close, but a good defensive effort by the SeaWolves to keep it 1-0. Michaud quickly back the other way.
That was a fantastic chance from Gonzaga. Again, another midfielder,
Yep.
Matt Clare, Gonzaga, Perez. They're finding themselves in the box game after game, and that's very rare for your midfield line to actually probably be players that are leading your team in goals and stats.
And it was Eduardo Cruz who made the defensive play with Cortez out of the goal. Teixeira going to try and track it down on the boards here and gets it back to Brett Petracek, who is making the start. Second in the MASL, check that, make that third in the MASL in goals against average this year at 3.77. Been a terrific addition to the Tropics roster with the continued and ongoing visa issues of Rainer House, the man that was supposed to be the second goalie this year, or the 1A goalie really. He's very good, but visa issues have kept him on the bench. Carvalho gets his pocket picked by Sinclair. Sinclair trying to make it a 3-on-2 coming back. Knocked off the ball by Carvalho. And a whistle and a foul against Carvalho.
Yeah, Sinclair's a big body, very difficult to dispossess. But it's a good start from the Tropics, good possession. They've had a number of chances. And what I like from the Tropics of what they've done a little bit differently than the past, they're really utilizing the boards to their advantage.
Yeah, been a pretty sharp effort here so far as Teixeira crashes to the turf, and a whistle and a foul against Orlando. Yeah, they've had 2 or 3 near misses here besides the goal. Could easily be a 2 or 3 goal game already. So definitely a better start here this afternoon than we saw in the last home game, which was December 28th. The team's only loss came against Milwaukee. Reggett tried to take the funny bounce off the boards, couldn't do it. Rodolfo Lopes gets it to Cortez, is just in front, and Reggett couldn't quite get there, just a half step behind that loose ball in the box. 3-on-2 here for Orlando. Here's Victor France with it down low. Turn shot that goes wide, and far post is Luis Mota, couldn't quite get the rebound.
A little bit slow in the transition for the Tropics, but good transition moment offensively for the SeaWolves.
Yeah, very good indeed, and they have created a couple of chances here in the opening 15 minutes. As we said, they have played Florida tough, despite the fact they're a rather young and inexperienced roster. Here's a ball down low, shot, and Gordy Gerson couldn't quite settle it and put it up over the crossbar and out of play. First good chance of the afternoon for Gerson. So we will take a media timeout here in Lakeland. It's the Florida Tropics 1, the Orlando SeaWolves 0. We take a look at that last goal or opportunity and the good save. Back with more MASL action on Great 38 in just a moment.
CBS Investment Advisors are your partner for your financial future. They have the expertise and background to help you manage investments, your retirement, or trusts. Log on to cballiance.com or call them at 863-688-1725. CBS Investment Advisors, steady as you grow.
Coach Tom Traxler taking over behind the bench just a couple of games ago now for Orlando. He was their original coach in their expansion season last year. Did not return, but then an ownership change and shakeup early in the season for Orlando brought Traxler back into the fold. Here's a steal by Ruggles. He couldn't get it to Guillerme in time. Good outlet by Cortez to start the counterattack and a good defensive play. And there's a shot and a goal. Credit that one to Rafa Tobias. And the SeaWolves have tied it at 1.
Well, let's get a little quick replay on this ball into the target. Unlucky from Acosta sliding and basically giving the assist to the target forward. So it was a bit fortunate for SeaWolves, but took the bounce and timed it perfectly. And Petrusek just couldn't time it through his legs, unfortunate.
Yeah, he would like that one back. I think it was a good shot, but that was one that Brett had come up with earlier in the season, certainly.
Yeah, I agree. No, when you look at the other opportunities down with the Tropics, it was a cheap giveaway, good outlet pass from Cortez that led to the transition moment.
Yep, very good outlet passes. We mentioned as Petrusek will track this one down in his own end.
And you have the SeaWolves just kind of sitting in at their half, like a lot of indoor teams do. They kind of try to lull you to sleep, save their legs, and then try to counter.
Goal coming at the 9:02 mark of the first quarter. Matt Clare's goal came at 2:07 as Tavernese in the corner. Tavernese trying to keep the ball alive. Ridden off the play there. Tavernese with that 4-goal game in Rochester. That win over the Lancers last Friday, 17-4, set a Tropics record for most goals ever in a single game. Largest margin of victory in a game. And 3 different players had 5-goal nights or 5-point games. Tavernese, Antonio Manfoot, and Carvalho. Here's Rega. Gets it in front, and Clare just couldn't quite get the angle on the ball off the boards by Zach Rega.
Yeah, I think unfortunately for Rochester being, obviously getting back into the league, they're going to be setting a lot of records. Probably not for, more so for against, just getting their feet wet back into the league, learning the game again, trying to find the right players to get some W's on the board.
Yeah, and the fans there know the Lancers are in it for the long haul and taking the long view. And they will have some competitive matches up there before all is said and done, make no mistake. And Soccer Sam will get it right in Rochester. They sell out that arena up there almost every home game. As Teixeira taken down, and the whistle will go against Kaufman. So this will be a dangerous restart spot here for Florida.
No, and I think as Clay Roberts evolves as a head coach, I think the set pieces, whether it's top of the box corner kicks or in a situation like this, just off to the side of top of the box, these are critical for top quality indoor teams. If you want to win a championship, you've got to find 2 or 3 freebies, so to speak, in a game on set pieces.
Yeah, I was just going to say, those can very often be the difference between winning and losing when you get right down to it. And the opportunities don't come a whole lot better than this, as Teixeira is still being tended to here. He's battled a little bit of a groin off and on this year, so he may have tweaked that a little bit.
But you look at the Tropics lineup as well, they've got a lot of left-footed players as well. There's Carvalho, you've got Teixeira, you've got Guilherme. You have a lot of left-footed players, which is really, really critical on set pieces because, again, the defenders can't read which way you're going. And I think that's a luxury that Clay Roberts does have.
Of course, Ricardo Carvalho also very dangerous on the restarts. He is out there at the moment. See if they put Lucio Gonzaga out there. He is really a guy that is potent on that, as we see Ricardo Carvalho 5th in the league in total points with 21. 10 goals, leading the Tropics this season, none bigger than that game winner in overtime last Saturday against Baltimore. Great unselfish play by Victor Pereira on a 2-on-1, and Carvalho was able to finish it off.
They've got an interesting setup. They've got 2 left-footers on. You got Ruggles down low. Lucas Monteleras just at the top of the box. Probably going to be some sort of dummy play.
Only a 2-man wall for the SeaWolves, which is always dangerous as well. Monteleras leaves it. Yep, there's the dummy. There's the shot by Carvalho, and he just misses on the near post. Well called, Robbie. Set up Carvalho for that opportunity, and he didn't miss by more than about 12 inches. Here's Carvalho again trying to track it down in front. Ruggles shot, go! Well, the Tropics had the SeaWolves scrambling in their own end, and Ruggles, a nice little touch from the top of the box to make it 2-1.
Well, it first starts off with a great set piece, the dummy play, and then Ruggles just kind of scrapping in the corner, lofts it up, keeper comes out, punches it right into Ruggles' path and open net.
Yeah, the nice play by Ruggles. He didn't try and do too much with it, just almost a chip shot, not exactly a chip shot, but he didn't power it home. He didn't need to. He just needed to get it up over the goaltender's head and into the open net, and Drew has his second in 3 games.
When you're looking at a lot of the statistics for the Tropics, such a well-balanced offensive attack from not only their target forwards, which you would expect, second forwards and midfielders, and of course, some of their defenders getting involved in the attack as well.
Foul against Florida. And you bring up a great point, Robbie, the balanced scoring. That's exactly what the team had in mind when they signed all these guys. Is there wasn't necessarily one of them that was going to be a superstar and score 35 goals, but there were going to be 5 or 6 guys that scored 20 or 25, and that may very well turn out to be the case before all is said and done. Mijatovic will clear it, doesn't leave the zone, however, as Misha keeps it in play. Rob Acosta challenging Naranjo.
Yeah, I really think, Brian, all the top-tier championship teams, the ones I was fortunate to play on, really had a balanced scoring attack, and you never really relied on one or two guys.
You took, what, home? 3 championships with Baltimore, right?
3 with Baltimore. I was fortunate to be in the finals 5 times. Lost a couple close ones. But again, well-balanced attack. Committed players both offensively and defensively.
Here's Gerson in the corner. Gerson will swing it back out, tried to get it out to Ruggles. Now he's going to track it down. Can't get there, but Ruggles will at the center circle.
For me, Ruggles is one of those defenders, very calm, cool, collected, composed on the ball. He kind of dictate the back. He's like a quarterback for the team.
Yeah, great composure. That's one of the things you notice from his play almost every time he's on the floor. Ball down low to Reggett. Tried to spin and turn, couldn't do it. I think it was Nascimento with a good defense. Here's a steal. Shot in front. Oh, and the redirect by Gerson and right into the breadbasket of Cortez. Here's Reggett at the yellow line. Long shot, and that one just goes over the crossbar.
Great interchange play with the Tropics. Nice ball in from Gordy Gerson to Zach Reggett. I love the interchanging movement off the ball from the Tropics.
Tropics really starting to take control here as Gerson and Cortez come together in the box. Almost a steal there by Gerson. Now this is Moda with it. Moda looking for Sinclair, but Ruggles will intercept. Heads it forward to Reggett. Reggett to Ruggles trying to make a run. Moda will collect now to Sinclair. Intercept by Pereiras. Pereiras at the yellow line. To Gerson. Ruggles, Pereiras. Oh, what a save by Cortez. Tremendous save by Cortez as the Tropics made a bid for their 3rd of the quarter.
And I tell you, that would have been one of the prettier goals of the season. One-touch football back and forth. Actually, a little bit unselfish from Gerson, but great saves from Cortez. You can't take anything away from the SeaWolves goalkeeper.
Yeah, completely unselfish play by the Tropics there, and even though they didn't get the goal, that'll make Clay Roberts smile just a little to see that teamwork for sure. Here's Tobias. Goal scorer for Orlando gets it back center line to Sinclair. Minute to go in the first. 2-1 Tropics, could be 4 or 5-1. But Cortez with a couple of dandy saves here, especially late. Long ball into the zone, and Petrusek will get there ahead of Tobias. Pereiras can't control the outlet. Sinclair will pick it up. Sinclair, he's a load coming in. Sinclair's shot, and that goes wide far post.
Yeah, no one wants to get in front of him. He's a locomotive. Nice little Kacha move, we call that, kind of in and out, step over, just off to the right.
Yeah, I'm not about to step in front of him, and I'm almost as big as he is. You're surely not going to step in front of him.
It reminds me back in the day of Booney for the Philadelphia. Actually, Clay Roberts would know the big man. He was about 6'8", played as a target forward. And oftentimes,
is that Sean Boney?
Sean Boney.
Yeah, I remember Sean.
Unfortunately, oftentimes I'd be mismatched, and sometimes with the cross matches, I'd be stuck on him.
Here's Guilherme, top of the arc, tried to turn, can't do it. Rebound to Claire, over to Manfoot. Manfoot, still time for a shot, maybe, but Orlando will control. Manfoot comes in there to try and make a late steal, but the Tropics will have to settle for a 2-1 lead. A very entertaining first 15 minutes here at the RP Funding Center in Lakeland as the Tropics get 2 of the 3 goals. There's one of the great saves by Cortez. More Major Arena Soccer League action on Great 38 in just a moment.
And now, fans, please direct your attention to center field for a performance by the
Well, a 2-1 on the scoreboard could easily be 4 or 5-1 if not for the outstanding work of Fernando Cortez, the Orlando goalkeeper, in those first 15 minutes. A couple of highway robberies to keep it a 2-1 game. But a good start, Robbie, for the Tropics. This is a team that, against Orlando a couple of times, did not have great starts in the first half, did not have a good start. It wasn't a terrible start, but didn't up to the Tropics standards against Milwaukee a couple of weeks ago. But I think overall, Clay Roberts got most everything he wanted in those first 15 minutes.
No, certainly a lot of opportunities on goal. You know, for the most part, majority of possession. Good indoor movement in terms of using the boards, runs off the target. You know, I like the interchange and I like the line changes. You don't see guys staying out there for too long. So overall, a really good indoor quarter for the Tropics.
And it's one of the things that's most noticeable about this Florida team this year over their first 3 seasons is the way they have really used the dasher boards this year. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that they are practicing every day indoors now up in Orlando. And you talk about the commitment to play and the commitment to win. This is a team that literally is traveling about 3 hours every day, about an hour and a half up, hour and a half back to Orlando, so they can practice on an indoor facility, and that has really paid some big dividends here in the early going. Shot in front, and Cortez will handle that one relatively easily, but that's a pretty big commitment when you're talking about having literally to spend about 3.5 hours on the road every day just to practice. That's a commitment that a lot of teams may not be willing to make, but the Tropics have here this season.
Well, and so far you can see that it's paid massive dividends because, you know, you just looking at their Baltimore Blast victory in overtime, I want to say 4 of their 7 goals were off the boards, so it does make a big impact.
Yeah, definitely a number of those in the game, including the game winner, as we said. So Gonzaga will get the restart here from the top of the penalty arc. Gonzaga lays it off, shot, and again Cortez with a save, this time off the foot of Guilherme. And Cortez took the brunt of that one right in the breadbasket, and that may have knocked the wind out of him because Guy's got as hard a shot as anyone on this Florida team.
Yeah, right into his stomach, knocking the wind out of the keeper. He's in a good position. You know, again, at top of the box with Gonzaga, you know he can pull the trigger on his own, but he elects to pass to his right. And really, the keeper's already in a position. Oftentimes, for me, I like to go to the opposite side of the keeper, so you're seeing the keeper shift and have to make those decisions on the fly.
Cortez played 5 games with Dallas last year, won 2 of them. Had a goals against average of just over 7 a game.
And I think right now the Tropics are really close to breaking this game open. I think the SeaWolves are in trouble if they allow the next one. Right now, they're still very much in the game.
There's a chance in front, and that is wide on the short side. Yeah, the Tropics certainly have had the better of the play here, but on the scoreboard, just a 1-goal lead. Cortez will come off his line now, being pressured by Tavernese. Gerson going to try and make a steal, can't quite get there ahead of Michaud. And the Tropics will get a restart here on the far side of the field.
I think one of the things that Clay Roberts is implementing today, and as he likes to do, he typically likes to press as much as possible, put their keeper and defenders under as much pressure as possible to try to create some turnovers in the middle third of the field because they have such good offensive players. So you like that philosophy and the tactics from Clay Roberts.
That ball from Ruggles behind Mijatovic. Couple of games ongoing right now in the MASL of big interest to Tropics fans. Both the Milwaukee Wave and Utica City in action this afternoon. Milwaukee second in the East, Utica City third. As Gerson makes the steal, we'll try and start a 3-on-2 here for the Tropics. Gerson at the yellow line. Gerson shot, that misses far post. Pereiras gets the rebound. Pereiras across the Reggett, shot, hit both goalposts and stayed out somehow. Went off the left post, went off the right post. They think it went in because the lights have gone out here, but that one never actually went in. And we've got an injured Orlando player down. They're going to relook at this one, but don't think it ever crossed the line.
No, it didn't look like it crossed the line. Yeah, nice attempt from Reggett. Good ball across from Perez. And we do have an injury from one of the SeaWolves players, actually former Tropics defender.
Is that Rafa Nascimento?
That is Rafa. Kind of went down awkwardly on the boards near his own bench.
Well, we were talking about the games in progress out of town. In Milwaukee, St. Louis with a 3-1 lead over the Milwaukee Wave. That would be an upset of maybe not epic proportions, but certainly would raise a few eyebrows. And a good one going up in Utica City, and the Harrisburg Heat leading Utica City 4-3, and that's got to be fairly late, I would think, in the game. We'll check on the time remaining in that one up at Utica City, but that too would fall under the upset category, although not a huge upset. Harrisburg, a pretty good side, as Nascimento is up and looks like maybe a shoulder injury of some sort.
Yeah, I can tell you, I mean, it does look like a shoulder, maybe fell on it awkwardly, but the Eastern Conference is going to be such a dogfight towards the end of this season. You've got 24 games, only the top 4 make it. And when you're looking at the Tropics at obviously 7-1, Wave, Utica, Harrisburg, you know, Bmore and Kansas are going to be right at the top as well. So it's going to be a battle to the end.
They are heading towards the end of the third quarter at the Adirondack Bank Center, so they will still have a quarter to play up there. Another restart here for the Tropics at the top of the arc. Checking something down at the officials table right now. Whatever that issue is resolved, so let's see if Gonzaga can find some space to slot one through. He's got Pereira's left. He's got Guillerme down to the right, Reggett and Drew Ruggles on the near and far post respectively. Gonzaga approaches, leaves it off to Pereira's. Pereira's has that one blocked.
It's an interesting wall from the SeaWolves. It's almost like they're not taking away any side in particular. And you've got Cortez just kind of zoning in the middle. Just didn't take advantage of, for me, a little bit of an unorganized wall. But nonetheless, they got a great block shot.
Ruggles will get it down to Reggett. Reggett with the 2-goal games in both Rochester and Baltimore.
We talked about it earlier, Brian. Set pieces are critical. This is their second top of the box. This is their second free kick in a dangerous position. They've capitalized one with Ruggles, kind of that kind of scramble goal. This may be another really good opportunity.
Here's Manfoot with a shot. That one goes wide. Monolaris will wait for the rebound and play it all the way back to Petracek as the Tropics want to get some different legs out there after the restart. Manfoot right down the middle of the field to Reggett. Reggett in the corner, trying to use that body against O'Dane Sinclair. There's a couple of big boys battling, and Sinclair going to be called for a little too much contact. Zach not nearly as big as O'Dane, but he's as physical.
Well, and he's turning into a much better target forward where he really uses his body well, holds the ball up for his midfielders and second forwards to take swipes around him.
Teixeira with a long shot, and Sinclair got in front of that one. Goes out of play, so it'll be a restart for Florida at the yellow line.
Brian, how many times have you said restart so far?
Right.
You know, and again, it's something they've got to capitalize on.
Yeah, especially against the better teams. Here's Teixeira with the extra touch. Down low to Manfoot, and that one is blocked. Orlando doing a good job of getting into the shooting lanes. Here's a nice ball forward. Petracek comes out, can't collect, and then a nice sliding play by Monolaris with Petracek out of the goal. Good recovery for the Tropics defense.
It's fantastic recovery on the transition moment for Monolaris. Only 2-1 up. You've got everyone from the Tropics fighting back, but good transition moment from the SeaWolves. Petracek flying out. Monolaris flying for the block shot, and that saves a goal to tie this game up.
Yeah, and Matt Clare was hustling back as well and was on the line if Monolaris wasn't able to make the recovery, but as it turned out, Lucas was able to do so. Still 2-1.
Credit to the SeaWolves. They've hung into the game. Yep. They haven't created a whole lot of chances, but they're only down 1. And, of course, indoor soccer, that is absolutely nothing.
Yeah, and that's why we mentioned when you look at these previous matchups this year and you're tied in the fourth quarter in an indoor game, that's pretty much a 50-50 game. And Orlando was in that position twice against the Tropics this year, despite losing both of them eventually. But as we said, the Tropics at 7-1, Orlando coming in at 1-6, and on paper, really pretty close to a mismatch. Orlando just having a dreadful time getting goals this year. They've only scored 22 in their 7 games, but still trailing just by 1 here, and they've had chances, no question.
And you talk about, you know, any team that does come and play Florida, because they have so many offensive type players, they like to sit in, make it difficult on the Tropics, and then counter. So there's just not a lot of space for the Tropics. In saying that, though, they have had a number of quality chances.
More so in the first than here in the second, but lots of time to go as the ball comes across to Jackson. Jackson being watched by Lucas Teixeira, and Teixeira wins that battle briefly, but Naranjo with it now for the SeaWolves. Teixeira on the intercept, but he gives it right away. There's a shot mishit by Michaud. SeaWolves will keep possession, however. Good work by Orlando. This is Naranjo with it. There's a shot that's blocked and got through to Petrusek eventually. As Rafa Tobias, the goal scorer, made a bid for his second. Here's Carvalho. Carvalho is shoved to the turf. So again, a fairly dangerous restart moment here for the Tropics.
That's another. Yeah, man, I love the transition from Petrusek there, getting his head up, finding Carvalho, and again, another free kick. Yeah, Pereira's on the ball. I mean, maybe an opportunity for him to bend it in far post or a double pass.
We'll see what the captain decides here. Pereira gets it over to Carvalho. Carvalho being watched, and he'll back it out now down to Tavernese off the boards. Tried a little give and go with Carvalho. Tavernese still trying to keep it alive over there with Jackson. Yeah, the outlet from the goaltender was a big part of the 2 wins last weekend for the Tropics. Petrusek actually had 2 assists in the win in Rochester, and then Hugo Silva with the assist on Zach Reggett's first goal in Baltimore. So that was a big part of what the Tropics' success was last weekend.
Well, and you love to see when keepers can get their head up and a quick transition moment. It's an opportunity from nothing. And that's why we always say as coaches, you know, that target forward, that second midfielder, you've got to stretch the field as quick as possible.
Mijatovic taken down, and the foul will go against Orlando. Of course, in Baltimore, a little easier to get the goaltender involved on a very short field there. They play a pretty much regulation-sized field here in Lakeland, but in Baltimore, I don't know, Robbie, did you ever step it off there to know what it is?
Well,
probably
you know,
150, 160 feet, maybe?
Well, I've actually never played.
That's true. They're in the new arena now.
Yeah, the new arena in Taos. A beautiful arena, very, very small. Makes for a very entertaining game, but it can be very difficult to play in if you're a road team, if you're not used to that type of size.
And Joey Tavernese had something interesting to say after the game, insightful, I should say, as Orlando again tries to counter. This is Lopez with it. Tavernese talking as a veteran of many games there in Baltimore, including the new arena, since he was with Utica and Rochester for many years. Talked about how games in Baltimore, especially the new arena, there's just a lot of swings. Goals come very quickly, and you can give up 2 or 3 quickly, but get 2 or 3 very quickly. So when that goes against you, you can't hang your head and get down and think you're out of it.
Yeah.
Because things can happen quickly in Baltimore, and that's exactly what happened in that 4th quarter.
Yeah, there's always going to be chances at a split second with that size of field. But, you know, a good thing for the Tropics, they do train on a small field, so I think they're used to the size and the space, and the speed of play is obviously going to be that much quicker at the Baltimore Blast Arena.
Yeah, no, that's a good point as well. They have spent a lot of time in that indoor facility in Orlando, which might be 120, 130 feet long. So, yeah, they are used to those spaces that are rather confined.
Yeah, I think right now, Brian, just looking at this second quarter, it's a little bit of a lull for both teams. Credit to the SeaWolves, keeping possession at times. I think the Tropics have to get the intensity back up, movement off the boards, in the box. And I think just speed of play has got to be quicker.
Here's Gerson, tried to set up Reggett, now comes through to Gonzaga, who plays it off the boards. Here's Gerson, shot, go! Well, that'll lift the intensity just a little as Gordy Gerson gets one against his former team.
Again, we talked about another ball off the board from Gonzaga into Gordy Gerson's path, left foot smash, top right corner. But I love what the Tropics are doing in terms of using the boards. It's been fantastic to see, and it's a true sign of a veteran team ready to take the next step.
Yeah, it has been noticeable, as we've talked about, and another Wallace scorer, if you will, for the Tropics to take a 3-1 lead. Gerson back in the lineup in nursing that foot injury. It was funny, I was talking to him at practice one day not too long ago, and he said he can do everything but shoot. It doesn't hurt to run. It doesn't hurt to do anything, cut. It just hurts to actually take shots. But with the results like that, he'll fight through the pain all day long. Here's Sinclair trying to counter, and Rob Acosta steps up. Acosta, here's Teixeira. Teixeira's got a couple of people ahead of the field, gets it to Claire. Claire to Guilherme. Guilherme with an empty netter and a goal.
Beautiful transition moment. Teixeira to Claire. Claire across his body. Wide open net to Guillermo. I love it.
Yeah, another unselfish play for the Tropics as Claire knew he had Guilherme with him, and just a nice little redirect pass to Guilherme all alone in front, and obviously no chance for Cortez, who would come out to try and break up the
Well, I think Cortez, yeah, I think Cortez is kind of caught in no man's land, whether to come, whether to stay. He opted to come off his line, came off too late. Easy tap in for Guilherme. But I like the unselfish play from Matt Clare. And again, he's got plenty of goals, plenty of points this season. So it's been a great start to the year for Matt Clare.
So both Gerson and Guilherme get their 4th of the year. And just like that, after kind of a sluggish first 5 or 6 minutes here in the second quarter, the Tropics have erupted for a couple and now lead at 4-1.
Well, I think for me, for Clay Roberts, Guilherme is a key, because last year he was a fantastic player. I think he came in and started a little bit slow. Now I think he's starting to find his indoor legs, his fitness. He's looking a little bit sharper, and I think he's going to be a real factor in the next 8 games.
Yeah, it was funny. When he first came to the Tropics in his first year, we played defense. I think he had 2 goals. Got moved to the forward line, a target forward last year at the start of the season, mainly because of injuries, and was a revelation. Had 15 goals in the first 10 games of the year before getting injured, and really never recovered and wasn't the same player when he came back very late in the year. And I think you're right, now just really beginning to hit his stride physically, and when you feel good, you play good, and Guilherme getting to that point, no doubt about it. Manfoot on the intercept now. Gets it ahead to Tavernese. There's a steal now. Shot, and just wide. Petracek did a nice job to come out and cut down the angle, and Orlando just misses a second goal here.
Yeah, fortunate for the SeaWolves, unfortunate for the SeaWolves. Yeah, Victor France, he had a one-on-one with Petracek.
And he's one of their experienced, good indoor players, and you don't see Victor miss very often from there. Here's a long ball right on Cortez, who makes the save.
I think one of the things that Clay Roberts has to continuously work on with his Tropics is, when is the time to press? When is the time to drop? Are you too far from the keeper? Do you have your defenders up and ready to defend and push up with you? There's so many factors of a good pressing team, and so far I like what I see from the Tropics, but there's the odd occasion when they're pressing at the wrong time. I think the distance between one of their attacking players and the keepers may be a little bit too far, or their defenders are a little bit too far from their attacking players. But that's something that I think they can continue to work on.
Those 2 Tropics goals, by the way, came 26 seconds apart. Here's Tobias, and he sends that one halfway to Indian Lake Estates.
Well, you said it, Brian. The goals come in bunches, especially in the indoor game.
They do indeed. So 2 within a span of 26 seconds has lifted the Florida Tropics to a lead of 4-1 over the Orlando SeaWolves. More Major Arena Soccer League action in just a moment on Great 38.
Your Syntec smart home works with devices like the Amazon Echo Dot.
Alexa, turn on all lights.
Many of your home's features can be controlled by giving simple voice commands.
Alexa, set temperature to 72 degrees. Alexa, play my playlist.
For extra convenience, you can also control your home's systems with your smartphone apps.
Major Arena Soccer League action is at the RP Funding Center in Lakeland with the Florida Tropics. For amazing family entertainment and non-stop action that doesn't bust the budget, go to fltropics.com and click tickets. So rise up, Florida, and join the ever-growing Tropics soccer movement. Go to fltropics.com and click tickets.
Here's something we've learned in the last 115 years. Energy connects us. In the conversations, the smiles, the interactions we experience every day. Lakeland Electric is proud to power local businesses, ensuring reliable energy for our friends, our families, our future. Lakeland Electric, powered for life.
As the Tropics do a little scoreboard watching this afternoon along with their fans, the Heat and Utica City now tied 5-5 in the fourth. And we'll get an update for you on the Wave and the Ambush as well in Milwaukee.
Fortunate for the SeaWolves, that to me that looked like a top of the box.
Yeah, that could have been.
Sinclair kind of with a whiff.
Instead, it'll be a restart from the near boards here. In Milwaukee, St. Louis put a 4 spot up in the third quarter, and the Ambush lead Milwaukee 6-4 now in the fourth quarter. And if the shots on goal are right in that game, Milwaukee has outshot St. Louis 34-10.
That does sound about right. If you're in Milwaukee, very difficult place to play.
It is, but St. Louis right now on top as Acosta taken down at the top of the arc, recovers, gets it to Lucio Gonzaga. Guilherme tries to get it back to Gonzaga, but Orlando will intercept. Tobias being watched by Gonzaga. Teixeira on the intercept. Gonzaga tries to play it off the boards in front to Gerson. And Cortez just inside the line.
That's very close,
Yeah,
Brian.
just.
I like what Teixeira is doing. He's stepping in while the Tropics are pressing.
Here's Gerson with a shot. That one misses far post. Guilherme, he's got to leave the left foot from there if he wants to uncork one. Gonzaga with it. He's knocked to the turf. Counter opportunity for the SeaWolves. Long ball down to Moda. Bad break, though, for Orlando as it goes up over the dasher boards and out of play.
I think one of the things that I'm seeing for the Tropics defenders, like a Monteleras, like a Teixeira, like a Ruggles, once they identify that their attacking players are pressing Cortez, they're really making a conscious effort of stepping up a little bit higher. In the past, they'd kind of get stuck a little bit farther back, and there was too much space for the midfielders and the second forwards to cover ground. So great job.
Yeah, especially noticeable by Teixeira this year. He's traditionally been much more of a stay-at-home defender, and he has been involved in offensive pushes forward a number of times, not only tonight, but all season long.
That just comes, Brian, that just comes from experience and some of the tactics that Clay Roberts wants to implement with his defenders.
Manfoot trying to get around Eduardo Cruz. Antonio still with it, gets it back out to Ruggles. Over to Mijatovic. Mijatovic spent a few games with Orlando at the end of last season. Actually scored a couple of goals for the SeaWolves. Here's Pereira's long shot. That's bent just wide of the far post. Ruggles will step up to control the rebound. Ruggles plays it off the board almost to himself. Good recovery by Sinclair.
When you're playing against a big guy like Sinclair, there's no point to body him. You just got to kind of corral just like that, and oftentimes turnovers do happen.
O'Dane tripped up himself with the ball that time as Manfoot can't collect the pass from Pereira's. Now Pereira's inside shot. That goes just high and wide, and the rebound a little too tall for Tavernese.
You can see Pereira's just a little bit frustrated with himself because normally those attempts are on goal or in the back of the net.
The captain with a very good start to the 2019-20 season as well. Mijatovic through the box. Carvalho will chase it down. Reset on top now to Matt Clare. Carvalho gets it to Reggett. Trying to make a run off the ball as Carvalho, and Reggett will play it back out. Good defensive work there by Jeff Michaud. Shadowed Carvalho making that run through the box, and Reggett really did not have a chance to make a pass. Clare heads it in for Reggett. Reggett off the boards in front. Here's Carvalho's shot. That one just misses far post. Reggett in there to try and battle for the rebound. He keeps it alive for the Tropics. Ruggles can't control it, but he'll chase it down.
Yeah, nice offensive possession from the Tropics. Good ball off the board from Reggett again. Just a half chance, you know, from Carvalho. And I think he missed maybe by about an inch.
He hasn't missed many this year. Reggett with it. Reggett gives it up to Clare. Love watching Zach play. He is so tenacious. His work ethic is just off the charts besides his skill. Here's an intercept by Montoleras to Reggett. Shot! Wide rebound, Carvalho, and that's taken off the line. My goodness, 2 more great chances for the Tropics.
But it all stems from pressure and your defenders stepping up into the passing lanes. Again, we just talked about Lucas Teixeira. How about Lucas Montoleras doing the exact same thing?
Reggett with it. Had Gerson briefly in front. Tried to hit Clare, making a run. Montoleras stepping up defensively again. Here's Teixeira. Teixeira will lose that battle. Comes ahead to Victor France. Gives it up to Gerson. 3-on-2 the other way. Here's Gerson over to Clare. Clare across to Teixeira, and he can't get a foot on it. Gerson can't get it, and here comes the SeaWolves with a chance. Now a nice little ball off the boards to Nascimento, and he fires high and wide.
I think I would have, I think on that 3 versus 2, I think I would have liked to see Matt Clare take another touch towards the goal. He elected to play a square ball across to Teixeira, just a little bit too far in front of him. But sometimes you got to be a little bit, you know, more greedy and selfish in front of the box. Even though you like to see passing, I think in that particular situation, he'd have been better off going forward with his first touch.
Yeah, Teixeira just a half step late getting to the pass there. Of course, Carvalho just missed as well, so stays a 4-1 game here late in the first half. Teixeira. Teixeira will look downfield, can't find anybody. Now gives it up to Gerson. Gerson back to Teixeira, a little behind Lucas. And Teixeira and Naranjo going to be coming together. Teixeira called for the foul. Now Montoleras rides Moda off the ball. Montoleras still with it, pushing ahead. Gives it back to Teixeira. Lucas Montoleras going to head to the bench on a line change. Here's Gonzaga. Lucio Gonzaga with it. Left-footed shot never got through. Costa tried to come in to get the rebound. Can't do it. A 2-on-1 maybe for Orlando. Good recovery by Teixeira as he came back to break that chance up.
Yeah, I think the transition defense is another real emphasis from Clay Roberts, getting players behind the ball as quick as possible, corralling offensive players, and making a conscious effort of not just having 1 or 2 back, but 5 guys behind the ball.
Yep, been a point of emphasis literally since day 1 of training camp back on October 22nd. Sinclair, long ball down, header, Petracek, and a goal. Couldn't quite get there.
Wow. That's my initial reaction was a fantastic goal.
Yeah, very nice as Luis Mota finishes it off far post. And that's a nice one for the SeaWolves to build on going to halftime.
Nice clipped-in ball from Sinclair, the big man, and just guides it far post, Mota. What a fantastic header. Really difficult angle as well. So credit to the SeaWolves for not giving up. It's only a 2-goal game. It seems like they've been kind of really out of the game and chance after chance after chance for the Tropics, but sometimes when you don't finish some of these easy chances, it's a 2-goal game just like it is now, 4-2.
That goal coming with just 7 seconds to play in the half. Long ball down, Tavernese going to try and track it down off the boards, and Cortez has to come out to clean it up at the horn. So Orlando, who was pretty well outplayed for the first 30 minutes, they still trail, but some life for the SeaWolves as they look for their second win of the season. Tom Traxler doing some cheerleading as he heads off the field. It's the Florida Tropics 4 and the Orlando SeaWolves 2. Back with more Major Arena Soccer League action in just a moment. halftime here at the RP Funding Center in Lakeland, Florida. The Florida Tropics leading the Orlando SeaWolves by a score of 4-2, but Orlando with a little something to build on with that late goal, a very pretty goal by Luis Mota there with 7 seconds to go in the half to make it a 4-2 game. And we'll take a look at what's happening around the MASL this afternoon. As we said, very important afternoon, even though it's early in the season, as the two biggest Tropics rivals to date are in action, and it looks like Utica City is going to hang on and beat the Harrisburg Heat. They lead 7-5 late now in the fourth quarter. Utica has scored the last 4 goals in that game unanswered after the Heat had taken a 5-3 lead in the second quarter. Even bigger perhaps in Milwaukee right now, St. Louis trying to find a way to hang on against the Milwaukee Wave. About 5 minutes left in that one in Milwaukee, and the ambush with a surprise right now, leading 6-5, and we can show you why these 2 games out of town are just so important to the Tropics, who are of course in first place in the Eastern Conference, but right on their heels, a half game behind, is the Milwaukee Wave at 6-1. The Tropics coming in at 7-1, and you talk about 2 identical teams. The goal differential between these two is the same. The Tropics and Wave with a goal differential of 26, and that's an important number to look at as well, especially later in the year, because that can be a tie-break criteria down the line. Utica City will improve, it looks like, to 6-2 and remain a game back of the Tropics. Now, Florida does have 1 game left against Milwaukee in Milwaukee later this year. The Tropics do not play Utica City or Harrisburg at all during the regular season, and they have swept the season series from the Baltimore Blast, who currently are in 5th place with a record of 4-5. So we'll keep an eye, as we said, on how things unfold over the final 4 or 5 minutes in Milwaukee. But when we return, we'll review what's happened here in Lakeland as the Tropics get on the board early and miss a lot of chances as well, but they still lead it by a score of 4-2. Back with more MASL action in just a moment.
Your Syntec smart home works with devices like the Amazon Echo Dot.
Alexa, turn on all lights.
Many of your home's features can be controlled by giving simple voice commands.
Alexa, set temperature to 72 degrees. Alexa, play my playlist.
For extra convenience, you can also control your home's systems with your smartphone apps.
Major Arena Soccer League action is at the RP Funding Center in Lakeland with the Florida Tropics. For amazing family entertainment and non-stop action that doesn't bust the budget, go to FLTropics.com and click tickets. So rise up, Florida, and join the ever-growing Tropics soccer movement. Go to FLTropics.com and click tickets.
Here's something we've learned in the last 115 years. Energy connects us. In the conversations, the smiles, the interactions we experience every day. Lakeland Electric is proud to power local businesses, ensuring reliable energy for our friends, our families, our future. Lakeland Electric, powered for life.
What's your plan?
More time with the grandkids.
Care Plus can help with a variety of Medicare Advantage plans, many $0 copays, and 20 years of Medicare experience. Care Plus, we've got plans for you.
Well, there you look at the Tropics National Championship banner from the United Premier Soccer League this past summer, a perfect 18-0 record. And the Tropics would love nothing more than to add a MASL championship banner next to that at the RP Funding Center next season. And they lead it right now by a score of a 4-2 over the Orlando SeaWolves. And Robbie Aristodemo, let's take a look at some of the highlights of that first half. A pretty entertaining half, certainly. Could have been a much bigger score, but the Tropics do get on the board first here.
Yeah, this is the simple ball in from Ruggles. Matt Clare looks for Gordy Gerson back post, but it's an own goal. You know, but again, you get to the back post, good things happen when you whip balls in the box.
So the Tropics had that early 1-0 lead, and then we get Fernando Cortez, who has been terrific here, and this is a nice save in front. Actually, it was the defender that made that save, but Cortez has been the story of the match so far for Orlando. He has made 3 or 4 point-blank saves. And then the unfortunate break against Acosta as he went down, couldn't quite break that play up.
Yeah, I think Acosta maybe needs to be a little bit more careful, play behind the target forward, but he took a risk, and you know, the gamble was lost.
Here comes the goal by Ruggles at the top of the box. A nice little touch on that loose ball, and Drew Ruggles picks up his second of the game.
Again, keeper comes out at the wrong time. I think it's the second time we've seen Cortez come out at the wrong time, punished in the back of the net from Ruggles.
Yeah, and there's one of Cortez's fantastic saves. He had 3 or 4 like that in the half. That one denying Victor Pereira's the goal.
Yeah, it's a simple indoor goal. Gonzaga just off the post, off the boards to Gerson, into his left foot. Fantastic finish, top right corner.
And you know Gordy enjoyed that one against his former teammates. And then the very pretty goal by Luis Mota right before the half, the header just out of the reach of Petrashek, making it 4-2. And that's a big goal for Orlando because they did not play terribly in that first half, and that gives them a spark going into the final 30 minutes. So it's Florida 4, Orlando 2, back to the RP Funding Center in just a moment. So this is the first of 3 straight here at the RP Funding Center for the Tropics. In fact, these two teams will renew this rivalry just 7 days from now here in Lakeland, as the second Sunday matinee of the season will feature the SeaWolves and the Tropics in a 3:05 start as we look at the Southern Home's upcoming home game schedule. January 25th, St. Louis will be in town as the Ambush, believe it or not, blew a 6-1 lead in Milwaukee and ended up losing that one 7-6 to the Wave this afternoon. And then a game that a lot of us have been looking forward to and have circled on the calendar, the iconic San Diego Soccer's in town for a Saturday, February 8th date, 5 o'clock, followed by 2 more Saturday dates in February. The Rochester Lancers will make their visit with the incomparable Soccer Sam in tow. And then our first ever visit from one of the Mexican teams in the MASL, and that is Sonora. That will be February 22nd, and the Soleil are a pretty good side as well, and that should be a very entertaining matchup. So lots to look forward to on the upcoming Southern Home's home cooking schedule, with Orlando and St. Louis still coming up on the homestand. For the SeaWolves, as we said, they'll be right back here in Lakeland next Sunday, and then they will take on the Ambush at the Heritage Osceola Park Arena in Kissimmee on January 24th. A home date against the Baltimore Blast on the 30th, and the San Diego Sockers will play in Orlando on that Thursday, February 6th, before the February 8th match here in Lakeland against the Tropics. Those are all 7:35 starts at the Silver Spurs Arena, and they will finish their upcoming schedule with a road trip in Baltimore on February 9th. So that's the upcoming schedule for both the Tropics and the SeaWolves. As we said, these two teams will play a total of 6 times here this season. This is the 4th matchup. The Tropics 3-0 on the season series so far, but last year, Orlando under Tom Traxler, who is back now as their coach, won 4 of the 6 matchups between the two teams. Florida getting their only road win of last season in Kissimmee, but overall, the SeaWolves pretty much had their way with the Tropics, especially later in the season. So for the 2 years now, the Tropics with a 5-4 overall lead in games played. But as we said, Robbie, you look at everything on paper, and this had Tropics written all over it, and yet here the SeaWolves are scrapping and playing as well as probably can be expected, and they have to have some encouragement, certainly going into the second half. What was your message if you were in the locker room and you were Tom Traxler?
No, I think they got to be really pleased. If I'm Tom Traxler, you're down only 2 goals in an indoor game. Obviously, that's nothing, but they didn't create a whole bunch of chances. All the chances were really, for me, one-way traffic from the Tropics. They've missed a lot of chances by inches. I think they should be up by probably a handful more at the very least, 6-2, 8-2, perhaps. But give the SeaWolves credit for not giving up. So I think if you're Tom Traxler, hey guys, we're right in this game. This is a game that we can steal on the road.
And steal it would be. So we'll see how it all plays out over the final 30 minutes. Fernando Cortez, excellent in goal for Orlando in those first 2 quarters. We'll see if he can continue his stellar play, or perhaps the Tropics will be able to create more pressure and turnovers, and as they did in the first half, but just not really able to finish. Here's a chance now in the Florida end. In front, shot and an easy goal. Jeff Michaud takes the feed from Victor France, and 20 seconds in, it's a 1-goal game.
Well, it's mistimed pressure from the Tropics in the attacking third. They get split, they get broken, and Victor France with a nutmeg pass to the far post. Fantastic finish, but you love the pass through the legs from Montelares. Savvy veteran pass into the path.
Yeah, Jeff Michaud with the finish there.
Yeah, Michaud with a nice finish, getting to the back post like all good indoor players should be doing. And again, only a 1-goal game, one-way traffic in the first half. SeaWolves come out of halftime feeling all the energy.
We mentioned that these two teams have played close games all season as Reguette tries to play it off the boards to himself, but puts it up over the glass into the stands. The 2 of the previous 3 games were tie games at some point in the 4th quarter. So those are games that are in the balance either way as Acosta steps up but knocks it to no one in particular.
Yeah, playing ping pong with Cortez.
Gerson with some pressure. Now the intercept by Reggett, but he couldn't control it, unfortunately. Again, very close chance. Now Ruggles will step up to Gerson, to Reggett. Reggett with a shot and a goal. Well, sometimes you'd rather be lucky than good, and that was lucky. The Tropics actually had like a 3-on-0 and didn't execute it very well, but Reggett will take it nonetheless.
Well, good ball in from Ruggles to Gerson. First time ball across, and Reggett, again, probably should have took it down. Elects to shoot. Mistimed shot from Cortez, but again, if you don't shoot, you don't score. And then, at the end of the day, Clay Roberts doesn't care. They're up by 2 again.
Yeah, just one of those crazy indoor goals. That ball had a lot of English on it, and it just spun right between Cortez's hands and into the back of the net. So just seconds after Orlando makes it a 1-goal game, the Tropics get that one right back. Here's Gonzaga. He'll start a 3-on-2. Gonzaga over on the left side to Manfoot. Tries to get it across to Guilherme, and good defensive play there by Orlando just to break it up at the last minute. Pass wasn't just quite crisp enough. Takedown by Guilherme, and that's a foul.
Yeah, they're going to see a lot of 3-on-2s, 2v1s, a lot of transition moments going forward for the Tropics. I think the SeaWolves are getting caught a little bit too high, not getting numbers behind the ball, and allowing the Tropics to really kind of dictate what they want to do in the offensive third.
Yeah, both goals here early in the second half coming on odd man transitions. Here's Guilherme now. Guilherme will pull it back out.
I think just from, the few of the games that I helped with the Tropics back in the day, I think one of the biggest things is when to pressure.
Here's a chance in front of Montoleros, just misses far post. Not going to call a handball there, it was close.
Great ball off the board from Antonio to Lucas Montoleros, making a deep late run in the box. Again, missing by inches.
And again, another defender stepping up to join the offensive attack and just missing. So here's Ruggles taking a look down for Ricardo Carvalho. Carvalho been a little quiet tonight. Ricardo with it. Ricardo off the boards in front. Cleared out of there, still alive, and then Cortez is able to clean it up.
A good target hold-up play from Carvalho, even though he's not technically the target forward in this line. You got Tavernisi that's playing as the hold-up play. He does a good job spinning and using the boards.
Something that Clay Roberts was talking about after that win in Baltimore, the way that they are using Carvalho, a little different than Ricardo was used to when in Harrisburg he really was a true target forward all the time. Here in the Tropics lineup, he's got a little more space to improvise and freelance, and it's paid off. Here's Ruggles with it. Had Claire making a run briefly, but Drew will pull it out. So those 2 goals, by the way, came at the 19-second mark and the 51-second mark. So just 32 seconds apart on the Orlando and Florida goals. Here's Claire with it. Carvalho holds, tries to get it back to Claire. Too much traffic in front. And Victor France comes out of there with it to Acosta. Acosta with a shot, that's deflected. And it will be a goal kick here for Orlando.
Yeah, a little interchange play, 2-man game with Claire and Carvalho. Not a bad opportunity, but you can see now, Brian, more opportunities are starting to come. The SeaWolves are kind of getting stretched a little bit. They've got to buckle in defensively.
Here's Carvalho off the boards in front. Tavernisi takes a whack, still loose in there, and Cortez is able to cover up. Boy, another near chance here for the Tropics. Just a half step off. Here's an intercept, and now Carvalho with it. Carvalho shot, and that one hits the crossbar. Still in play, and Cortez able to out-jump Joey Tavernisi for that 50-50 ball.
Playing with fire right now, the SeaWolves giving up too many opportunities on goal. Cortez is having to come up really big.
Here's Victor Franz, shot. Petracek with one of his better saves of the game. Victor Franz, a very good shot, and Petracek was equal to the challenge there. Gonzaga tried to keep it in play, taken down by France.
Well, and France, again, he's a savvy indoor player. You got to be very careful with him in the final third.
There's that bid from distance by Carvalho just missing. They're just off the crossbar.
Well, and it's a knuckleball as well.
Yeah.
There's no spin on that ball.
Yeah. Tim Wakefield would have been pleased with that one. The only knuckleballer I could think of at the moment in baseball. He was a good one, though, with the Red Sox. Montoleros will play it back to Lucas Teixeira. Gerson, who has the goal tonight. Ahead for Reggett, who has the Tropics 5th, and he's taken down by Sinclair. That has been, Zach's going to need the whirlpool tonight. He's been battling Sinclair belly to belly and butt to butt right from the start here.
Yeah, and it's been a broken record. A lot of fouls on Sinclair, always trying to win the ball from the target forward. Sometimes you just got to hold them up and force them to go backwards, and as a target defender, you've done your job. You've got to rely on your midfielders and your second forwards to follow runners.
There's Reggett getting it knocked away by Sinclair. Here's Gerson. Gerson, top of the arc, tried to get through. Good play by Sinclair. Counter attack here now for Tobias. Has that broken up by Pereiras and Reggett, and Pereiras will come out of there with it. 5-3 Tropics inside, 10 to go now here in the third. Tropics making a bid to go 8-1. Need to win here this afternoon to stay on top of the Eastern Conference standings.
That's a great touch from Guilherme out of the air for the long ball from Matt Clare.
Acosta with it. Down low to Guilherme. Tried a little give and go with Acosta, didn't happen. Good recovery by Acosta. Manfoot comes out of there with it. Manfoot has that one intercepted. Tobias gonna see if he could catch Petracek off his goal line, but not really much a chance of that happening.
A la Wayne Rooney scoring some phenomenal goals. He had an opportunity to watch a lot of Orlando City games, and you know, Wayne Rooney came into town and scored a goal from about 70 yards away. I mean, and you do see that once in a while. Sometimes indoor keepers do find themselves a little bit farther out of the goal. So good attempt from a SeaWolves player. I don't mind that.
And by the way, we have some tremendous news from Milwaukee. The Ambush have forced overtime against the Wave, scored in the dying seconds of the fourth quarter, and won it in overtime. So the Milwaukee Wave crash this afternoon and suffer their second loss of the season.
Well, second loss in overtime as well, isn't it?
Yeah, at home.
Yep.
Tropics, of course, turning that trick back on December 7th. The Wave has not lost more than one game at home in a year, at least in the last 2 years that I know of. Here's a long shot. Petracek able to knock that out. Mijatovic clears the zone. I'll have to check and see how late that Ambush goal was in the fourth quarter that tied it, because they were literally in the final 20 or 30 seconds and Milwaukee was ahead. Yeah, it was 19 seconds left in that game when the Ambush tied it.
Well, and obviously they were on 6 attackers, so they've pulled their keeper, so it makes it that much more exciting and dramatic for the St. Louis Ambush. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that's a great win for them. That's a good side, and they'll be here in a couple of weeks, so you might want to mark your calendar for that one. Here's Guilherme down low. Guilherme in the right corner, double team, gets it back out to Carvalho. Well, my bad for writing the Ambush off after leading that one 6-1. Milwaukee scored 6 unanswered to lead at 7-6, and the Ambush find a way.
Just a lot of sustained possession for the Tropics. SeaWolves doing a lot of defending. Again, that takes a toll on your legs as the fourth quarter approaches. That if you don't have the ball in indoor soccer, fourth quarter, you kind of got those dead legs.
Holding foul called against Naranjo, so the Tropics will get a restart deep in the Orlando end of the field. It was the veteran Tony Walls who got the equalizer with 19 seconds to play. And Felipe Silva at the 2:56 mark of overtime with the winner for St. Louis.
Not sure why it's the top of the box. I'm not sure if I missed something, but nonetheless.
Carvalho, and that again is blocked. Tropics haven't made that extra little push to create more space on some of those restart opportunities, like we saw one of those goals here against Milwaukee a couple of weeks ago. Orlando doing a good job getting in front of a lot of those restart shots.
Yeah, I think if there's one thing that's a little bit of a negative for the Tropics, it's their set pieces on the night.
Here's Gonzaga, and he loses it, banged in front by Michaud. And Cortez able to send it out of harm's way. It's Ruggles over against France now. Good defensive play by Ruggles to get it out of harm's way, and Drew will get it over to Rob Acosta. Loses it to France now. Ruggles comes out of there with it. He's got some space to operate. Tropics want to change, though.
Yeah, I'd like to see Victor Pereiras, the captain, get more involved in this game. You know, again, we haven't mentioned his name too much And for me, he's one of, if not the best Tropics player. You know, he's up and down. He's got a deadly right foot. He goes left as well. He's a very good 1v1 player. You know, sometimes when you're playing in threes, it certainly helps with your legs, but sometimes you can kind of float in and out of indoor games because you don't get a sniff of the ball all that much.
Pereira's battles, gets it to Reggett down low. Just behind Victor there at the top of the box. Reggett going to be called for the takedown on Tobias.
And I think the referees have done a great job on the night. We haven't seen any blue cards. Calling the game, I think, pretty good, pretty tight, pretty close.
Rich Grady and Brian Miller on the floor tonight. Definitely an A crew. Here's a ball down to Cruz. Tobias tries to tee it up. And now Jackson will get it back to Sinclair. Gets around Gerson. Jackson at the midfield line.
Good sustained possession from the SeaWolves, only down 2, so there's really no need to panic right now if you're Tom Traxler.
Yeah, always a crazy goal waiting to happen, and you can get right back into it. To be sure, is a whistle and a foul called at the Tropics yellow line.
Today, Tropics haven't had to defend too many set pieces on the day. Probably a one-man wall, maybe 2.
This is Cruz with it on the near boards, blocked by Teixeira. Tobias gets it back to Cruz now at the yellow line. Michaud, who has the SeaWolves goal here in the third quarter, taken away by Teixeira, who will just feed it back out of harm's way at the moment. Tropics want to get some fresh legs out there. Guilherme will come out there along with Ricardo Cavallo.
And that's the key, Brian. It's fresh legs. I mean, any top indoor team knows when to change, knows how to change, and really puts an emphasis on keeping players fresh.
Teixeira battles to keep it alive, and Mijatovic will play it right back to Petracek. Gets it ahead to Carvalho. Carvalho tracked down there by Moda. Florida will complete its line change here. Matt Clare out. Matt Clare tries to get it in the far corner to Guilherme. He'll pick it up himself, gets it on top to Monaleras. Monaleras taken down, and that's going to be, thought maybe the first blue card of the night, but they're going to call it just a foul. Monaleras took a tumble as one of the Orlando defenders stuck a leg in there.
Well, you can treat this almost like a top of the box.
Yep.
Again, you've got to have some right-footed shooters. Fortunately, you've got 2 right-footed shooters. You've got 2 left-footed shooters. So a perfect opportunity for Ruggles because he's got the lay of the land. He can go right, he can go left.
Guilherme going to do the honors here. The shot, and that never got through. Tobias with the block as Orlando did a good job keeping the integrity of its wall intact there.
Again, I'm kind of a broken record, but the set pieces just have to be a bit sharper on the day for the Tropics.
Yep, that has been definitely the one bugaboo so far. And as we said, against really good teams in this league, and there's a bunch of them, that can be the difference. Cruz, rather Moda, will track it down in the corner. Back on top to Naranjo. Naranjo with it to Michaud. Just those 2 goals, one aside in the first minute, nothing since. As we've kind of hit a lull like we saw in that second quarter, Robbie, where Orlando has done a pretty good job playing at their pace and keeping some long possessions.
Yeah, no, they've done a good job on the road. You got to give them credit. They're still fighting. They're 2 goals down, and they're sustaining some decent possession.
Shot goes right on goal, and Petracek able to control that.
And I'd like to see the Tropics just kind of move the ball a little bit quicker, get their line changes buzzing a bit quicker, a bit sharper. I think a few players you can see getting a little bit gassed, and part of that is just staying on maybe an extra 30 seconds or so.
Breaking the action here at the RP Funding Center. It's 5-3 Tropics. More MASL action to come.
Your Syntec smart home works with devices like the Amazon Echo Dot.
Alexa, turn on all lights.
Many of your home's features can be controlled by giving simple voice commands.
Alexa, set temperature to 72 degrees. Alexa, play my playlist.
For extra convenience, you can also control your home's systems with your smartphone apps.
Major Arena Soccer League action is at the RP Funding Center in Lakeland with the Florida Tropics. For amazing family entertainment and non-stop action that doesn't bust the budget, go to FLTropics.com and click tickets. So rise up, Florida, and join the ever-growing Tropics soccer movement. Go to FLTropics.com and click tickets.
Here's something we've learned in the last 115 years. Energy connects us. In the conversations, the smiles, the interactions we experience every day. Lakeland Electric is proud to power local businesses, ensuring reliable energy for our friends, our families, our future. Lakeland Electric, powered for life.
5-3 Tropics as we wind down action here in the third quarter from Lakeland, Florida, live this afternoon on Great 38 and MASL.TV. Wherever you're watching, we hope you're enjoying the action. It's been entertaining. It's not been perfect from the Tropics point of view, but so far good enough for a 5-3 lead.
No, I think everything but the final finish has been a little bit off on the night. They've created a number of chances. Possession's been good. Movement's been good. I think line changes have been solid. You know, defensive walls have been good. I think, again, we talk about a couple of things. The set-piece opportunities have been a bit sloppy, and then I think just finishing opportunities in the final third.
Gonzaga getting around Lopez, then Lopez able to recover. Now Mijatovic with it. Had Gonzaga on a run, but Mijatovic a second late on getting it to him. Gonzaga is able to collect it, but will bring it back out to the midfield line.
There's a line change from Gonzaga. You've got to recognize when players are going off because you've got to hold possession, allow players to get on.
Yeah, it's easy to get caught in a sloppy line change and give up an easy goal, and nothing will irritate a head coach more than that usually. Pereiras with it one-on-one. Good defensive play there by Lopez. Now here's Mijatovic, and he'll send that one out of play.
You know, you always worry for the fans in an indoor game. If you're not paying attention, shots are coming pretty far and fast, and that one just missed one of the Tropics fans.
Yeah, that's right up into the Swan City Syndicate, the Tropics fan club, booster club that does such a great job pounding the drums and creating a lot of the excitement here at home games. Here's Matt Clare down the left boards. Clare with a shot right on save. Tavernese makes a bid on the rebound, but he sends that up into the Swan City Syndicate as well.
It's actually a fantastic little flick ball from Carvalho over his head to Matt Clare, right into his path. Great save from Cortez. We're getting a nice replay here, but left-footed bomb from Matt Clare comes off to Tavernese and flies up into the crowd.
Yeah, that was a good save by Cortez for sure as Gonzaga tries to win a 50-50 ball. Good recovery by Teixeira.
Yeah, Teixeira's done really well for me tonight, reading the passing lanes, stepping up, doing a great job.
Gonzaga down low to Guilherme. Shot, go!
And I'd give the hockey assist, Brian, to Teixeira for stepping up, creating that play to Guilherme, back post to Carvalho. Again, I love that type of indoor goal. Get yourself to the back post. You're going to find 10, 15 easy goals a season if you're a smart, savvy indoor player.
Jeff Michaud just a half second late, getting there to cover Carvalho, who gets his first of the night, his 11th of the season, which is best on the Tropics. 22 points now on the season. He came in as the MASL's 5th leading scorer, and that doubles things up now as the Tropics will take a 6-3 lead.
Well, that's a big goal, just only 1 minute left in the third quarter. But again, it's another good indoor goal because it's a back post tap in.
And as you mentioned, Lucas Teixeira won't get the assist because they only give out 1 assist, not 2 in indoor soccer, but it was Teixeira who started that play to Matt Clare down the far board. So
yeah, he's done a great job just stepping into the passing lanes.
Mijatovic taken down by Nascimento, no whistle. Here's the ball down to Moda. Moda with a shot, and that never got across the line as it got through Petracek's legs, and Ruggles was there to knock it away. Good defensive play again by Drew Ruggles. Talked about his composure and shows it right there. Gordy Gerson against Sinclair. That's 5-4 against 6-2. Do not adjust your sets.
And again, you know, with those two going at it, you can see they're having a bit of a chuckle. When you're that much smaller, not only by height but by weight, it's just a matter of just getting low, corralling, and forcing the big man back.
Long ball into the Florida third. Victor France with it. Being watched by Tavernese. Don't want to give up another late one here. Tried to play it off the boards, did Lopez. And Pereira will just run out the clock. So the Tropics, they get a late one in the third quarter, and they will head to the final 15 minutes here at the RP Funding Center. It's not a comfortable lead, but it's a decent cushion. 6-3. More major Arena Soccer League action to come on Great 38. .15 minutes left to play here in Lakeland. 6-3 Tropics as Ricardo Carvalho gets his first goal of the game. He did have an assist earlier on the Drew Ruggles goal, so he has 2 points on the night. Gordy Gerson with a 2-point game with a goal and an assist. Matt Clare with a 2-point game, a goal and an assist. 2 the lucky number for the Tropics so far. 2 in the first, 2 in the second, and 2 in the third. As the Swan City Syndicate has lots to cheer about and hoping for more here in the final 15. We'll see how this plays out, Robbie, but kind of a dangerous moment in the game for Orlando because they are going to have to really start to take some chances, and when that happens, when you've got that much firepower on the floor against you, it could get ugly, so we'll see.
No, it'll be an interesting fourth quarter for Tom Traxler and the SeaWolves. They really got nothing to lose right now. I mean, again, it's a franchise that doesn't have a ton of wins, obviously. They got the big one against the Blast, which was very surprising around the league. But, you know, they're going to play with all they've got in the fourth quarter, and anything can happen, as you talked about, the Wave in St. Louis, in terms of how many 6-attacker goals you can score in the indoor game.
Crazy game in Milwaukee. I think the Wave scored 5 sixth attacker goals to take the lead. They went to a sixth attacker with like 6 minutes to go in the third quarter.
Well, and I've been a part of a few of those games, and they're crazy. You're defending for long periods of time.
Carvalho takes the shot on the short side that goes wide. Tries to step in to get Jackson to make the turnover. Can't do it. Long ball ahead to Tobias, but that takes an unfortunate bounce for Orlando and goes out of play. Tropics looking to improve here to 8-1 on the season. There's only one undefeated team in the MASL. That is the Monterey Flash, and they were pushed to the wall last night in Mesquite against the Outlaws. Tattoo and the Outlaws ended up losing that one 10-8.
You've got Tattoo there. I believe Sagu, one of the former blast keepers, former sidekicks keepers, helping Tattoo as well. So you've got a lot of indoor experience with that club. And again, Monterey's always a difficult team to play. They get some fantastic indoor players, great fan base.
Naranjo with an open chance, but he's unable to convert as Petracek couldn't control the long ball into the Florida offensive third. The Tropics will be in Texas the final weekend of January. They have a back-to-back with the Dallas Sidekicks on Friday and then the Mesquite Outlaws on Saturday. So that will not be an easy road trip by any stretch, and we know Mesquite will give the Tropics everything they can handle and then some.
And you've got former Freddie Mugen for the Dallas Sidekicks, so that'll be an interesting matchup with Freddie and Lucas Monteleras and Teixeira. You know, they know him very well, obviously being here for 3 years.
Here's a ball ahead to Reggett. Reggett taken down by Naranjo, and whistle goes. Want to extend our sympathies and condolences to Freddie on the loss of his dad. Passed away just about a week or two ago now, very suddenly, and I think Freddie played the next night, and the Sidekicks won that game.
Well, and I believe he scored a goal, so it's a tribute to his dad, and obviously Freddie's a great person and really great character guy, friendly, always looking to help. Oh, what a fantastic goal from Monteleras.
Monteleras with a finish, and a pretty one at that.
You were talking about Freddie Mugen, and all of a sudden, you've got Gordy Gerson to Monteleras. Great little give and go pass. We'll get a replay, but I love the composed finish, and we talked about it, Brian, earlier. Defenders attacking.
Yeah, that's been a hallmark here of late for the Tropics, and just a pretty right-footed finish by Lucas Monteleras. So
I'm actually more impressed with his first touch with his left foot. Really controls it nicely into his path, and a fantastic finish with his right foot. Volley into the top corner.
And for Lucas Monteleras, that's his third of the year.
And we keep talking about defenders like Ruggles, Monteleras, Teixeira. They're getting into the final third of the field, attacking and really being a presence.
And just to finish the thought on Freddie Mugen, of course, he was really kind of the face of the Tropics for the first couple of years here, as Jackson misses and puts it out of play, and really beloved by Tropics fans early on in this franchise's history, and did so much as a player and as an assistant coach. And of course, it was a sad day for a lot of Tropics fans and followers when he was traded in the middle of the season last year. A trade that worked out, I think, for both sides, but it was tough on a lot of Tropics fans, couldn't really understand it, and Mugen was missed, but certainly we want to make sure he knows that the Tropics family is thinking about him in what is a difficult time. So Freddie, heads up to you, and we're thinking about you, pal. 12 minutes to play here at the RP Funding Center, and the Tropics lead at 7-3.
Yeah, I think one of the things the SeaWolves have to do a better job, you know, they've got to prevent the ball entry into the target forward. It's a little bit too easy for the defenders to pop it in, and again, you see another opportunity here because of that.
Great save by Cortez right on the goal line.
But going forward, it's stepping up, it's preventing that ball, and if you're not going to step up, then you've got to drop your lines back that much further, so it's not such an easy opportunity for the target forwards.
Teixeira with the intercept, Tavernese with it, tries to get it to Teixeira. Behind Lucas that time, so Teixeira will play it back out to Acosta at the midfield line, and Tropics will reset the offense from there.
Yeah, reset the offense, line changes, get guys that are fresh, that can continue to move with a high tempo, high energy.
No, Gordy would like maybe one more against his former teammates. Here's Reggett trying to turn in the corner. Reggett gets his shot blocked, but Ruggles will track it down.
Just a great technical defender, Ruggles. Composed. Everything out of the air he seems to take down very calmly.
Entered the weekend as the 6th ranked shot blocker in the MASL.
Well, and again, Brian, for me, that's probably one of the more important stats, block shots. And if you want to be a title contending team, not just your defenders, it's got to be all your players looking to put their body in front of the ball.
Gonzaga will again get a restart chance here deep in the Orlando end. Let's see if Tropics can have a little success on a restart chance. Gonzaga will leave it off for Ruggles with a shot, just misses far post. Reggett tries to control the rebound, has it taken away. Good defensive work by Lopez. Ruggles, though, with the intercept near midfield.
Yep, and that's the point, Brian. They're at midfield already when the Tropics are pressing. They're not sitting back by the yellow line. They're able to intercept.
Reggett one-on-one in the corner. He's dangerous any spot from inside the yellow line. Gerson has it blocked by Cruz. Mijatovic will get a chance at the yellow line. Not sure what he was intending there.
I'm not sure what that was. Yeah. But again, he's a young player.
I think he was thinking about passing and thinking about shooting, and it kind of ended up being neither. So just went over the glass and out of play.
But, you know, looking at the SeaWolves, they do have some pieces that they can build off of. I like what Cortez have done. They've got a few indoor savvy players. You've got the big man Sinclair. And, you know, again, they haven't given up yet. I think they just need a little bit more possession.
Yeah, and a little more experience and talent. I mean, you're right. They've got a few pieces, and the young guys have been scrapping and playing hard, but they just don't have the talent level that the Tropics do and a lot of other teams. Here's a little shot and a save by Cortez off the foot of Pereira's. Guillerme made a nice little back pass.
Beautiful run off the ball from Victor Pereira's into the target. Little in and out move. Again, another little target play. Something that the SeaWolves have to do better. They've got to close that ball into the target. It's been a little bit too easy on the night for the Tropics.
Pereira's not real close yet, but closing in on his good friend Ricardo Dieguez for the all-time Tropics leading scoring honors. 12 points away now from Ricardo. Victor coming into the game tonight with 51 goals and 35 assists for his Tropics career. As we said, he's been a little quiet here tonight.
Yeah, but you know what? Sometimes, Brian, you know, I've been in plenty of games where you've got lines of 3 players in your line, and sometimes, you know, you get in, and all of a sudden it's a defensive shift. You're not always on the offensive shifts.
Yeah, and the good thing about it is that you can't be on every night, every shift, every game, and if you're having a quiet night like Victor is tonight, you've got a lot of guys out there that can pick up the slack. There isn't anybody on the floor that can't pick it up for you, and that's what's happened here tonight. So a timeout on the floor here in Lakeland. It's the Tropics 7, the SeaWolves 3. We'll be back with the conclusion in just a moment. This is Major Arena Soccer League action on Grade 38.
Your Syntec smart home works with devices like the Amazon Echo Dot.
Alexa, turn on all lights.
Many of your home's features can be controlled by giving simple voice commands.
Alexa, set temperature to 72 degrees. Alexa, play my playlist.
For extra convenience, you can also control your home's systems with your smartphone apps.
Major Arena Soccer League action is at the RP Funding Center in Lakeland with the Florida Tropics. For amazing family entertainment and non-stop action that doesn't bust the budget, go to FLTropics.com and click tickets. So rise up, Florida, and join the ever-growing Tropics soccer movement. Go to FLTropics.com and click tickets.
Here's something we've learned in the last 115 years. Energy connects us. In the conversations, the smiles, the interactions we experience every day. Lakeland Electric is proud to power local businesses, ensuring reliable energy for our friends, our families, our future. Lakeland Electric, powered for life.
So let's take a look at the updated standings in the MASL Eastern Conference. The Tropics, if they should hang on to win here, as you can see, would continue to lead the East with an 8-1 record. Milwaukee and Utica would be tied for second, with Milwaukee losing their second overtime home game of the season this afternoon to St. Louis. So they fall to 6-2, and Utica City also 6-2.
Yeah, this would be fantastic for the Tropics and Clay Roberts to have eight wins with only one loss in your first 9 games is a really, really sharp start to the season. Certainly a long way to go, but it puts a lot of pressure on the teams chasing.
Yeah, I think if you kind of plotted it on paper before the season, if you would have said 8-1 after 9 games, knowing that 4 of those 9 games were against either Baltimore or Milwaukee, you'd take it for sure. So here's Tavernese trying to find it. There's a shot save. Tavernese rebound, and he just goes high. Goes off the glass and out of play as he tried to take advantage of the fact that Cortez was still on the turf.
Another good shot from Matt Clare with his left foot. An easy tap in for Tavernese, but just skied it.
France and Mijatovic collide at midfield, and then Cruz and Reggett. Little contact. Here's Gerson against Sinclair again. That's at least been an entertaining matchup to watch, if nothing else. Sinclair tried to keep it in play, does.
That's one of the things now you've got to think about, pulling the keeper if you're Tom Traxler. You know, you're down 7-3. You're only down 4 goals, and we talked about the Wave coming back with 6 attacker.
Yeah, they scored 5 straight 6 attacker goals to tie that game at 6.
Yeah, what it does is it bunkers in the Tropics. They've got to build a house. They've got to drop in and hope to score on those empty nets, and if they don't, it can be a real problem. So I would think Tom Traxler right about now should be thinking about 6 attacker.
Ruggles making a run. There's a shot and a goal! Beautiful setup by Drew Ruggles to Zach Reggett at the back post.
You said it best, Brian. Back post, another back post goal or another ball off the boards. Really savvy indoor team. Down the line, Ruggles across his body, back post tap in from Reggett. And you love to see those positions being taken from your guys. And it was a good goal. More importantly, a good transition moment from Ruggles, and another attacking defender getting out of that in transition.
Yeah, maybe the prettiest goal of the night for Florida, and that makes it an 8-3 score now. Give credit to Drew Ruggles with good patience in waiting for Reggett to come open at the back post, and Zach has his 3rd straight 2-goal game.
Well, and you're looking at the replay. It was a great ball back post. Wasn't that easy of a finish because the ball was fairly high.
Here's a chance now on the counter for Orlando, goes wide. Shot off the foot of Eduardo Cruz there. Zach Reggett, for all his goal-scoring exploits, and he's one of the better goal scorers in this league. That's why he's the reigning MASL Rookie of the Year. He has never had a hat trick in his career, so that's got to be at least his 6th or 7th 2-goal game, and there's another one for the Tropics on an own goal.
That second own goal of the game, Guillerme, again, whipping the ball across the box. Good things happen when you get the ball in the box. It was a good run from Antonio Manfoot to put pressure on the defender. Unfortunate own goal.
So look at the replay, and Guillerme will get credit for it. He was trying to find Manfoot in front. So things are going to get a little ugly on the score sheet here before all is said and done. But the Tropics, these are not unimportant goals. As we mentioned all the way back at the top of the broadcast, goal differential. could be a tie-breaking stat at the end of the season when you talk about home field advantage for the playoffs.
Well, that's massive.
And so even though they don't seem significant in the smaller picture, every goal here and going forward is potentially an important goal, because it could be that close between Milwaukee, Utica, Florida, and who knows, maybe even Baltimore before all is said and done.
Yeah, and I think we all know, I think everyone that's a fan of the indoor game knows that it's going to be that close when all said and done. But I think, you know, what I like right now is, you know, when I used to play, we always put that number 4 on the board as a defensive team. So right now they've only given up 3. As a team, we would pride ourselves on not giving up more than 4 goals a game. That was something that we consciously thought about. Right now the Tropics are doing a great job as a team defending.
Sinclair being watched by Ruggles, gets it to Cruz. Chance and a shot wide. Orlando will control the rebound. But it comes to Claire, and now ahead to Carvalho. Carvalho with a breakaway with Ruggles. Carvalho to Ruggles, shot and a goal.
Easy transition moment. Looks like the SeaWolves have lost their sea legs, so to speak, and not able to get back in transition. A really easy tap in. Good ball in for Matt Clare to Carvalho. Easy slip pass to Ruggles, and rewards his hard effort for making a real long 30-40 yard run.
Yeah, and as we mentioned, the SeaWolves played Friday night in Kansas City and had a very, very difficult travel day back yesterday from the Midwest with all those storms out there. They never got out of Kansas City until 9 o'clock last night. They were expecting to get back to Orlando much earlier yesterday and almost didn't make it to Orlando at all yesterday. And so
the travel.
Yeah, I think you're right about losing the sea legs, if you will, at this point, as it's now 10-3 Tropics. They have scored 6 unanswered goals since it's a little hard to remember, but Orlando actually scored 19 seconds into the second half to make it a 1-goal game.
Yeah, you can always kind of sense that it was only a matter of time because the SeaWolves were just giving up too many opportunities. It was more just the Tropics missing some of those opportunities. And I just think defensively as a unit right now, the SeaWolves are a little bit spread out, stretched.
Here's Reggett with it. He's looking for a hat trick at the yellow line. Reggett leaves it off for Gerson. Gerson gets it on the right side to Teixeira, who will take it off the boards, and Lucas will pull it back out here. So the Tropics will certainly move to 8-1 and stay atop the Eastern Conference standings.
I think right now, kind of see this game out, keep possession, try not to get anyone injured. You know, again, you're not looking to try to, you know, again, we do talk about goal differential, but if you are looking to try to score, you get on with it. You don't celebrate like you're winning the World Cup. This game is well in hand. You don't want to embarrass anyone, but at the same time, you do want to get goals in terms of that goal differential.
Here's Victor Pereira with it, leaves it off to Teixeira. Over to Mijatovic. So a couple of guys looking for a hat trick here tonight. Reggett, one of them down there in the corner, but couldn't come up with that ball off the boards. Aranjo coming back with it on the right side to Victor France.
Just doing a great job. I mean, I've been very impressed with the transition defense from the Tropics. Everyone getting back behind the ball and really making it a conscious effort. I love that mentality and that philosophy of everyone sprinting back as quick as possible and then finding runners and finding who's free, organizing when you get behind the ball.
Don't forget, these two teams will tangle again next Sunday here at the RP Funding Center. Another 3 o'clock matinee before St. Louis comes in on the 25th to conclude the 3-game homestand before that quick 2-game trip to Texas at the end of the month. Guilherme with a couple here tonight, trying to make a run down the left side, leaves it off there for Pereiras. Tropics calling off the dogs here a little bit, if you will.
Yeah, just moving the ball from side to side, moving off the ball, interchanging, getting your lines moving.
Pereiras with it. Pereiras, little back heel, tried to find Antonio Manfoot, but that pass was intercepted. Michaud with a bid from 75 feet out, and that goes out of play.
I've seen a few good things from Michaud. I mean, again, obviously the own goal is unfortunate for him, but he's kept his intensity and his work rate up. He scored a nice goal, you know, earlier today. But again, the SeaWolves and Tom Tractor, they've got their work cut out for them. Indoor soccer is a very difficult game if you don't have a few veterans to kind of lead the way. But more importantly, Brian, you've got to be fit to play this game at the top levels. And a lot of people don't understand how fit these players are in terms of the Wave, the Blast, obviously traditionally Monterey, the Soccers. A lot of the better indoor teams, fitness is a priority.
Montclair taken down rather heavily on the far boards there. Down to 2.5 to go. Claire down the right side in front, Tavernese, but couldn't control it. And Cortez, who, despite the final score, has played well here tonight, is man-foot with some pressure. Cortez will bring it out across his own line. Tavernese pokes it out of play.
He's almost like a field player, Cortez. That's why I'm surprised they didn't kind of utilize Cortez as a 6 attacker keeper, because he's almost like a field player. He's savvy, he's tidy on the ball. And I would have liked to have seen the SeaWolves kind of draw him up to half and try to score a couple of goals off the 6 attacker.
Cemento with it, and he can't get squared up in time and puts it up over Brett Petracek and again into the Swan City Syndicate. They've been busy here in the second half.
Well, you love to see the Swan City. They get the drums going. They've got the flags. Nice fan base for the Tropics.
They have more fun at the Tropics games than just about anybody. And they'd love to have you join them for a game. I think it's like $7 for a ticket in the supporter section, so can't beat that. Here's the ball down to Reggett. Gets it over to Carvalho, but Cortez comes out. Cortez being challenged by Teixeira. Here's a 2-on-1 if they can execute it. Tobias, though, will lose this foot race to Claire, but knocks Claire off the ball. Matt trying to recover. Here's a chance in front, and there's a blast by Cruz that just goes wide. Reggett. He's got Claire ahead of the field if he can get it to him. Cortez comes out, however, and he'll play it off the boards. Carvalho with it. Carvalho gets it down to Zach. And Carvalho taken down hard.
Surprised that's not a blue card.
Yeah, it could have been maybe.
Very clumsy challenge from Sinclair.
Yeah. And the best news of all that is Carvalho is up and okay.
Well, again, broken record for me, but this is another critical top of the box. Of course, the game's well in hand, but more just for execution purposes. And again, you know these are going to be critical in crunch time against the top teams.
Yep. Here's Claire with a shot. Never got through, and Cortez able to clean it up. Gonzaga with some pressure as Cortez gets it out the midfield where Claire makes the intercept.
I think I've been most impressed with in terms of the Tropics. Wow, it's great skill from Carvalho, just popping it over players' heads.
Gonzaga trying to get some positioning on Lopez.
But I was about to say, Brian, what I've been most impressed with defensively is when the Tropics do continue to press, the defenders continue to step up.
Here's Reggett. He's got Ruggles and Gonzaga with him. Cortez makes the save. Ruggles off the boards, tried to get it to Mijatovic, and Stefan couldn't tee it up. Here's Gerson, tried to tee it up, stays in play. Ruggles and Sinclair come together. Sinclair doing some good work to keep that ball alive, and he knocks into Stefan Mijatovic, and Sinclair and Mijatovic are going to have a couple of words. So a little spice here at the end of the game, a little frustration between a couple of big boys. Stefan Mijatovic goes about 6'5", and O'Dane Sinclair goes about 6'2", 6'3". There was a blue card that came out initially. There were probably going to be more than just a blue card after that altercation.
Yeah, the big man Sinclair's frustrated. He kind of put his fist back, and luckily the player stepped in and didn't allow that situation to escalate, because that could have been a little bit scary.
Drew Ruggles in there to play peacekeeper rather, as Rich Grady and Brian Miller will sort things out here, and I think they've got their ducks in a row as to what they want to call. Here's a look at how it all unfolded. You can see Ruggles in there, and it was kind of a hip check from Mijatovic, and then a retaliation from Sinclair, and then almost got a little dangerous there before Rafa Nascimento stepped in to play peacemaker as well, former Tropic.
Yeah, I think Sinclair thought maybe a little bit too much on the tackle for Mijatovic, but for me, just a good bump from Mijatovic in terms of an indoor play, and probably a foul, but the retaliation from Sinclair kind of escalated the situation, and it'll be interesting to see if Sinclair gets a card, gets in the box for that retaliation.
There was definitely a blue card shown at the start of the play. Now, who that was against, I couldn't tell you if it was against Sinclair or Mijatovic, but they may be calling simultaneous blue cards, looks like. And that may be the end of it, and that's probably an appropriate adjudication. Sinclair going to go to the box, and I think it'll be Mijatovic going to the box as well for the final 18.6 seconds.
Yeah, they're still kind of
yeah, that was a dangerous,
that was a
dangerous moment there potentially as they both walked to the box. Sinclair actually went to the wrong box and had to get redirected as Mijatovic was approaching, but fortunately I think cooler heads have prevailed here.
Yeah.
So it looks like offsetting blue cards, and the teams will play four aside here for the final 18 seconds. Here's a long ball ahead of the field to Guilherme. Gonzaga being watched by Moda. Gonzaga gets by him, takes the long shot off the glass, never got through. Here's Ruggles. Ruggles with it, tried to get it over to Guilherme, and time is going to wind down here at the RP Funding Center, and it's over. The Tropics able to finally convert some of their chances in the second half as they out-talent the Orlando SeaWolves tonight by a final score of 10-3. And stretch their lead in the Eastern Conference to a full game now over the Milwaukee Wave, who lost in overtime to St. Louis. Maybe not one for the time capsule, Robbie. It wasn't a perfect game like we saw against Baltimore here, but a solid win top to bottom. Clearly, Orlando just doesn't have the horses to stick with a team like the Tropics over a full 60 minutes, and yet in the fourth quarter, we had a one-goal game at one point.
Yeah, exactly. It's a professional win. You got to come in with the right mentality to get a win like this tonight. It keeps you in first place. It's a very important win, and it keeps the momentum going, the confidence going, and it'll be interesting to see how they attack the SeaWolves again next week.
As Ordain Sinclair showing some good sportsmanship, and the Tropics as well with congratulatory handshakes. Back with a wrap-up in just a moment. This is MASL Soccer on Great 38.
What's your plan?
More time with the grandkids.
Care Plus can help with a variety of Medicare Advantage plans, many $0 copays, and 20 years of Medicare experience. Care Plus, we've got plans for you.
Your Syntec smart home works with devices like the Amazon Echo Dot.
Alexa, turn on all lights.
Many of your home's features can be controlled by giving simple voice commands.
Alexa, set temperature to 72 degrees. Alexa, play my playlist.
For extra convenience, you can also control your home's systems with your smartphone apps.
Major Arena Soccer League action is at the RP Funding Center in Lakeland with the Florida Tropics. For amazing family entertainment and non-stop action that doesn't bust the budget, go to FLTropics.com and click tickets. So rise up, Florida, and join the ever-growing Tropics soccer movement. Go to FLTropics.com and click tickets.
Here's something we've learned in the last 115 years. energy connects us. In the conversations, the smiles, the interactions we experience every day. Lakeland Electric is proud to power local businesses, ensuring reliable energy for our friends, our families, our future. Lakeland Electric, powered for life.
Score of 10-3, a 4-point night for Ricardo Carvalho, the team's leading scorer, 2 goals and 2 assists. Gordy Gerson, Drew Ruggles, and Guillermo DeSantos all with 3-point games as the Tropics improved to 8 wins on the season in 9 starts, and the Orlando SeaWolves dropped to 1-7. These two teams will do it again next Sunday at 3 o'clock here at the RP Funding Center. To find out how it all transpired, let's head down to the field. Our field reporter, Megan Price, has Tropics head coach Clay Roberts.
I'm Megan Price here with Florida Tropics head coach Clay Roberts. Coach, big 10-3 win tonight. This is your 4th meeting with the Orlando SeaWolves. You guys meet again next week. What's really important when you meet the 5th time in that preparation?
Yeah, it's really hard to keep playing, so many times in the season and develop a game plan for each time. And it's not too different as far as game planning goes. And so the guys just know the effort has to be better. And there's some small margins that we think we can expose them on each time. And we're able to do that again tonight. So great win for us.
It was a great win, and the energy was pretty electric in here. Lots of people here tonight. So how does that contribute to the game?
Yeah, the guys love it. Obviously, the louder it is, the more exciting it is for everybody. But the players feed off that. In the second half, we talked about at halftime. Look, we're in control. We're moving the ball well. We're creating a lot of chances. It's just not going in. Sometimes that's soccer. We knew if we would just keep to that rhythm, the second half could be pretty good for us and get the crowd into it. And in the third quarter, we got the crowd behind us, and the goals started rolling in. So great effort by the guys.
I was going to say, you took the words right out of my mouth. Very explosive second half. So what do you think is important with the ball movement on this team? I saw tonight that you guys moved the ball across the field very well. So what's really important with that ball movement?
Yeah, that ball movement really unbalances their defense. And so, whenever we can move the ball really well and just find little pockets that we can exploit, that's where our chances are coming from. We're getting good entry balls into our targets. We got what we feel is some of the best targets in the league. And so when we can get them in isolation moments and have a second runner close to them when we get that entry ball, that's where we're a dangerous team in this league.
What do you think? What do you always say to your team when things get a little hectic? High tensions during the game sometimes happen. So what do you say to your team to kind of rein them back in and calm them down?
Yeah, they're athletes. They're grown men. They're getting after it. But just stick to the plan. We have a game plan going in. We know that this series is always going to be, tough and physical. They want to beat us. There's 6 total games between us, and so now having 4 wins, we just say stick to the plan, and that usually gets us mentally back to it. And again, it was a little slow start for us in the first quarter, and second quarter, really the whole first half. But again, that mindset was going to help us get there in the second half.
You're undefeated so far this season. So where do you think that your team edges out their opponents?
Our team's playing really well. I think just a buy-in to philosophy and guys really executing that. We've got some great players, guys that are established in this league, both offensively and defensively. But whenever they have a second player in the line, and even a third player in the line with similar quality, that's the strength. The strength of our team is the depth, and we got some guys some rest tonight that have been playing the last couple games. Got some players in that were behind in a game count, and it was a great night for them to get out and get that game experience.
Great. Well, we're going to let you get in there to your team, spend some time with them in the locker room. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Maggie.
All right, Megan Price, thank you. With talk with head coach Clay Roberts, who obviously is pleased after a 10-3 win. And one of the things, Robbie, we talked about quickly was the fact that there are a lot of guys on this team that contribute. And you look at the stat sheet tonight, 1, 2, 3, 7 guys had multi-point games tonight for the Tropics. That's really important.
No, I think it is important. Depth is important, and having a good balanced attack, not only offensively, but the commitment getting behind the ball. I was very impressed with everybody getting behind the ball, 5 guys behind the ball, and then just the balanced scoring was fantastic to see from Clay Roberts and the Tropics.
Ricardo Carvalho leading that parade with a 4-point night, 2 goals and 2 assists. Gerson, Ruggles, and Guillermo DeSantos with 3 points each. Zach Reggett with 2 goals. Matt Clare with a goal and an assist for a 2-point game as well. So the final, the Tropics 10, the Orlando SeaWolves 3. Back to the RP Funding Center to wrap things up in just a moment. Well, good news here in Lakeland as the Tropics win it by a final score of 10-3. Great news for Tropics fans up in the great state of Wisconsin, where the Milwaukee Wave fall in overtime to St. Louis by a final of 8-7. So the Tropics now extend their lead to a full game and a half, actually, over the Wave and Utica City. And that's a pleasant surprise, Robbie, to have the Tropics see the Wave fall unexpectedly to St. Louis and open up. It's not a huge cushion, but 1.5 games might be as good as it gets, as tight as we expect the East to be this year.
No, certainly. If you're in first place, you've got the Wave and the Blast below you, storied franchises, of course. So you've got to be pretty pleased if you're a Tropics fan. 8-1 on the season so far, and you've got a game against the SeaWolves, which, on paper, you should be winning those games. So they've put themselves in a fantastic position so far.
So the Tropics improved to 8-1 with three of those wins coming against Baltimore and Milwaukee. The lone blemish on the record, that December 28th loss against Milwaukee here. But, of course, the Tropics were able to win up in Milwaukee earlier in December. So a split of that series and a sweep against the Baltimore Blast, a pretty good start to the 2019-2020 season. One of the heroes this afternoon was Gordy Gerson. He, of course, played for the SeaWolves last year, had 34 goals for Orlando, has been in and out of the lineup with a foot injury for the Tropics so far this season, but had a 3-point game tonight. He is on the floor with Megan Price.
I'm Megan Price here with number 3, Gordy Gerson. Gordy, amazing game tonight. 1 goal, a couple assists. What was clicking for you out there?
Just the guys getting me back in with my confidence. I've been out a couple games, so for the guys to just feed me the ball into the right spots, and for me to do that to them, and for them to be able to put the ball away in the net is, it's a blessing, and I'm happy to be back on the field, and I'm happy we're getting the wins.
I noticed that you are a leader on this team. You guys got a really big win tonight, 10-3. So how do you kind of rein your guys in when the tensions get high on the field?
At halftime it was 4-2, so it was a very close game at the in the halftime, and we did it to ourselves. We missed opportunities. We weren't committing to each other defensively, and it showed. So we talked in the locker room, and we said we had the best part about soccer is you get a second half. So we had to come out for our fans in the second half and put on a show, and that's what we did.
I want to know, what is that locker room chatter kind of like?
It's a little bit of a pump up, motivation. Some guys get down, some guys are too high, and you got to just kind of bring them down to that mellow level and get everyone onto the right page so we can click for the second half.
What do you think it's going to be like? I know this is the 5th time. Next week is the 5th time you guys are going to meet the Orlando SeaWolves. So what do you think it's going to be like meeting a team for the 5th time?
I mean, anytime you play it, we play them 6 times this season. I mean, it's not easy to win every game. So we just got to keep doing our thing. If we do what we're supposed to do, we'll get the results.
Awesome. Well, we're going to let you go celebrate your win with your team. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, thank you guys, thank you Megan, and thank you Gordy. You almost took a header there during the during the interview. He's already injured, so let's protect the assets down there on the floor, right? 10-3, the final is Gordy Gerson has a goal and 2 assists, as Megan mentioned, and we'll take a look at some of those highlights, including the Gerson goal, I'm sure, as it. Gordy mentioned it was a 4-2 game at halftime, and that was a little bit of a surprise, and it became even a bigger surprise, Robbie, when Orlando came out and scored just 19 seconds into the second half to make it 4-3. But early on, Matt Clare with a pretty effort and a goal to give the Tropics an early lead.
Yeah, second own goal on the night for the SeaWolves, but good ball back post. Yeah, SeaWolves goal here. Rob Acosta kind of cheats in front. Nice finish from the SeaWolves attacking target, the big man.
Yep, Tobias with the goal. And that made it 1-1 early in the first half. Some good work by Drew Ruggles, actually kind of set himself up. He kept that play alive and then was able to get the nice touch from the top of the box.
Yeah, I think you may credit him for the assist as well on that.
I don't think it works that way, but he could have. Here's a great save by Fernando Cortez, who was just terrific, especially early on for Orlando. Didn't get a lot of help in that second half, but he kept his club in the game for sure. Here's Gerson's goal. A nice board pass and a nice finish.
Yeah, good ball from Gonzaga off the board. It's very savvy play. Sinclair with a chipped-in ball back post. This was probably the goal of the night.
Yeah,
for the SeaWolves for sure.
And that was the one that kind of gave him that spark. It came just 7 seconds to go in the second quarter, made it 4-2 at the half. And then that quick goal, the pretty feed over to Jeff Michaud, and it was 4-3. But just seconds later, the Tropics able to get it back. A funny play, a ball that spun through the hands of Cortez, and the Tropics were off to the races.
Yeah, that was an easy one for Rega to get. He got just missed opportunities from Carvalho there, but again, you're looking at some of these highlights, chance after chance after chance. Good save from Petrusek though. He wasn't very busy on the night.
No, not a game where he had to be called on for a lot of opportunities, but certainly made a couple of good stops. Is another pretty goal there by Lucas Montoleros. The Tropics getting 6 unanswered to make it a final of 10-3. So the Tropics will play the SeaWolves again next Sunday at 3 o'clock. We hope you'll join us for all the action. MASL on Great 38. Have a great weekend, everybody.